I remember the start of my journey so clearly, the bright sun warming my skin as I drove down the winding road. The sky was a clear blue canvas, without a single cloud to spoil its pristine beauty. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, their vibrant colors dotting the landscape in every direction. Birds sang joyfully, their melodies echoing through the trees and filling me with a sense of contentment. A gentle breeze blew through my open windows, caressing my skin and carrying the sounds of nature. The atmosphere was light and hopeful, as if the world was celebrating the simple pleasures of life. I felt a sense of joy and peace wash over me, knowing that this trip was going to be a much-needed respite from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. I arrived at the station, got out of my car, and took in the incredible fresh hot air of the beautiful summer's day. After waiting hopelessly, the train arrived 25 minutes late, but off I went on my journey. I was on my way to visit my sister in the city. I had taken the train and gotten off at the station closest to her apartment. It was then that I spotted a small store, and being the curious person I am, I decided to go inside. As I browsed the small shop, I saw a strange staircase that led up to the second floor. I couldn't see the top of it, but I was intrigued nonetheless. Before I could stop myself, I climbed the staircase and found myself in a small room. I looked around, and there was no way to go back down. The staircase had disappeared, and all that remained was a small door. I tried to open it, but it was locked from the other side. I was trapped. I had no choice but to continue climbing up the stairs in search of an exit. The steps were old and creaky, and the walls were made of stone. It was clear that this was an old building, and the stairs seemed to go on forever. I didn't know how long I had been climbing, but my legs ached, and my throat was dry. I had no food or water, and there was no sign of anyone or anything around me. I tried to keep my mind focused on finding a way out, but the staircase seemed to twist and turn in impossible ways. It was like a never-ending maze, and I felt lost and disorientated. As I climbed, the walls started to close in around me, and I had to squeeze through tight spaces just to keep moving. I had the constant feeling that something was watching me, but every time I turned around, there was nothing there. The staircase was starting to play tricks on my mind. It was like it was alive and had a will of its own. The more I climbed, the more I felt like I was being swallowed up by it. At one point, I thought I heard someone calling my name. I couldn't tell if it was real or just my imagination, but I had to keep moving. As the hours passed, my hope began to fade. I started to feel like I was going crazy, and I couldn't tell if what I was seeing was real or not. I was sure I had seen the same door several times before, but every time I tried to open it, it was locked. I tried to scream for help, but my voice was hoarse, and there was no one around to hear me. I was completely alone, trapped in a never-ending staircase that led nowhere. Days passed, and I lost track of time. My only goal was to find a way out, but as I climbed, I realized that the staircase had no end. It was an endless loop that led back to where I started. I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, and I could feel my sanity slipping away. I tried to stay awake, but exhaustion took over, and I fell asleep on the stairs. When I woke up, I wasn't alone. There was someone standing at the top of the staircase watching me. It was a woman, but she didn't look real. Her skin was pale and her eyes were empty. She was staring right at me and I couldn't look away. As I climbed closer to her, I realized that she was a ghost. She had been trapped here just like me, and she was trying to warn me, but it was too late. I was already trapped in the endless staircase and there was no way out. I don't know how long I stayed there, climbing up and down the endless stairs, but I knew that I would never escape. The staircase had become my prison. I try to think back to what brought me to this place. Was it the wrong turn I took on the way home? Was it the stranger who lured me into this place? I can't seem to remember. My thoughts feel jumbled and twisted. I try to keep moving forward, but the endless stairs seem to go on forever. I wonder if this is all a dream, a nightmare that I will eventually wake up from. But the pain in my legs and the sweat on my forehead tell me otherwise. I begin to feel like I'm being watched, as if someone or something is following me. But every time I turn around, there's nothing there. Just the endless staircase leading to nowhere. As I continue to climb, I hear strange whispers and voices. They sound like they're coming from all around me, but I can't make out what they're saying. It's like they're speaking in a language that I've never heard before. The darkness of the staircase is beginning to play tricks on my mind. Shadows seem to move and twist, forming shapes that I can't quite make out. I feel like I'm losing my grip on reality, like I'm slowly slipping away into madness. And then I see it, a small glimmer of light in the distance. My heart jumps with hope. Maybe this is the way out. I quicken my pace, my legs aching from the endless climb. But as I get closer, the light seems to dim and fade away. I collapse to the ground, my body trembling with exhaustion and fear. I can't go on. I can't keep climbing this endless staircase. But I can't give up. I can't let myself slip away into the darkness. I take a deep breath and force myself to stand up, to keep moving forward. And as I do, I see it again, the glimmer of light in the distance. This time I don't quicken my pace. I keep a steady rhythm, not wanting to scare it away. As I get closer, I can see that the light is coming from a door. It's an old wooden door, the paint chipped and peeling. It doesn't look like it leads anywhere, but I don't care. I just need to get out of this endless staircase. I push the door open, the hinges creaking with the effort. And then I'm standing in a room, a small room with nothing in it. It's completely empty, but there's a sense of peace and calmness that washes over me. I take a step forward, and then another, until I'm standing in the center of the room. And then I hear it, a soft whisper, a voice that I've heard before. It's my own voice, but it sounds distant and far away. "Welcome," the voice whispers. "You have found the way out." And then the room begins to fade away, the walls and floor dissolving into nothingness. I'm standing in a bright white void. The only thing visible is the door, still standing there in the middle of nothingness. I take a step towards the door, and then another, until I'm standing in front of it. And then I push it open, and I'm standing outside, in the fresh air, the sun shining down on me. I collapse to the ground, tears streaming down my face. I made it out. I'm alive. But the memory of the endless staircase will haunt me forever, a reminder that there are places in this world that should never be explored.